waves here in Oceania as far as playing for the top lane in the Direwolves is concerned, but was originally a mid lane player and was fantastic at it.
Yeah, back when he used to play mid was on NA, I believe, and he was one of the only Challenger players from Oceania to actually get into Challenger on the NA server before the swap over. So
with 180 ping, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty smooth.
That's definitely commendable, and it's worth noting that he has since swapped from mid to top, and he's now returned to his natural habitat of the mid lane, and they've put Sharp from mid to top, and he loves to play passive as Sharp, so seeing him on a top lane, it doesn't seem to surprise me with his playstyle.
No, well, it was surprising to have Perfection up there in the top lane as such an aggressive player. Neither of these players have really changed up their playstyle at all. They're just in a different set of real estate.
Yeah, the only different change is that they've got a new lane and a new champion pool to learn and master.
Yeah, just playing from a different position. But bans are going to be coming through exactly the same, ladies and gentlemen, as we are back into Champion Select. Azir going to be taken away from Perfection here as well, as Uno and Urgot going to leave. Kalista as well, so no Urgot Kalista. Of course, we sort of didn't see them getting banned away in the last series, but now it is going to be coming through as Tallywacker not going to get that Kalista. Loves that champion.
Yeah, the Kalista target banned away from Tallywacker. He does love that, and he has massive stints on single champions for long periods of time. So getting rid of the Kalista. We saw him play Tristana on Monday, so we're not sure what he'll actually go for next, but at least getting rid of what has been known and defined as his strongest champion.
Yeah, we'll see whether that one's there. Of course, Urgot, you can think that might be banned at Tallywacker as well, but Choo Choo's plays a pretty incredible Urgot.
He also played Urgot. He didn't play Choo Choo's. He is Choo Choo's on Monday and stomped the map. He went everywhere, got all the kills, and did so much work that, again, not a big surprise that another target ban has come out. And it's worth noting, I guess, in the OPL, a lot of target bans come out, not necessarily strong meta-style bans.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only ones to come out here are going to be the Rek'Sai and the Nunu. Of course, Sybil does like a lot of that early pressure. Sybil, sort of formerly of Unlimited, who did play in our finals over at Armageddon there in New Zealand. But was sort of a Rengar main at that stage, and we'll see how he's developed his new champion pool in the current meta, sort of whether he's managed to transition to more of these tanky type champions. But Minky Whale, he's picked up the Hecarim straight out the gate, and that is huge.
It is huge, and they got it away. This Legacy, the only side to not ban Hecarim against Direwolves in the last split, and the only team to lose to Hecarim from Direwolves in the last split. So yeah, let's call them consistent. This time, being first pick, they managed to pick the Hecarim away. So they've got that on their side, and Minky does love Hecarim.
Yeah.
And what we've seen from Sharp in the top lane is one champion so far, and it has been Hecarim. So a smart pickup.
The thing that actually stands out in my mind as far as Minky Whale's Hecarim is watching him play a solo queue game and picking up Trinity Force into Zephyr, and it was the best moment of my life.
Sounds like something Minky would do when it comes to item builds on champions. Loves his Mejais as well on any possibility, any time possible as well.
Yes. Well, King is actually going to first pick the Jinx, mostly away from Tallywacker. Loves to play that champion, and Sharp going to lock that one in for King there. Sybil is going to lock away the Nautilus as well, so the bottom lane secured now for the Direwolves, although Perfection was the one OPL player that played the Nautilus. He might want to bring that to the mid lane.
I don't think he'll bring a Nautilus to the mid lane. Let's just cut that out of possibility right now.
I just like to think that people can mix it up.
I'm going to give you a big no on that one. It's not going to happen.
Give me a big no.
It's going to be a Nautilus support or jungle are the two options right here. And what we have right now is the Jinx, the hyper carry. Most likely going to be with the Nautilus, who can babysit the Jinx through lane and start to scale into the late game quite easily.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to answer turret pushing with turret pushing here as Tallywacker once again going to pick up that Tristana. Carbon locks away the power pick in the Gragas here as well. Gragas and the Hecarim, so much displacement here for the side of Legacy.
Yeah, and what we saw on Monday was a lot of early aggression from Carbon, invading and just being a pest in the opposition jungle. So the fact that they had the Nunu ban, the Rek'Sai ban, a lot of jungle control champions have been taken off the board, and they've picked up Gragas, who's arguably one of the last ones, besides the Jarvan we saw last game, at controlling the really early aggression that comes out from all the meta junglers. That Sejuani was the response, and Sej doesn't have a lot to offer between levels 1 to 4.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The early stages of this game are going to be difficult for the Direwolves. They've got some hyper scaling there in the bottom lane, which is going to be difficult to weather the storm, especially with this Sejuani here, who's not going to be doing too much. In fact, you almost die in your first jungle clear. You're not exactly going to be ganking anyone whatsoever. But come the late game, the Direwolves look absolutely unstoppable. They've got 3 tanky monsters to stand in front of this Jinx that's just going to be getting super excited in the back line of this team. And the Direwolves, I mean, they've saved the last pick. But what the heck are we talking about Direwolves for? We have a Bard in the OPL, Rusty.
Yes, Dew loves Bard, and I am so excited that he has actually picked this up in the second day in his second game. It's great to see this come out early. A lot of people have started to say that Jinx is the #1 AD and that Bard is the #1 support as of late. So,
whoa, big.
Which is a really big step, because we've gone from no Bards to all of these Bards out of nowhere. And it rounds up the lineup that they've got right here on Legacy quite well.
And no surprises. The Kassadin, of course, managed to get through the entirety of the bans and the picks, and Perfection sort of wonders why the heck that was the case. Takes a little while to find him, and locks that one in straight away. So there's the late game insurance coming through from the Direwolves, but they have to make it through what is some pretty incredible consistent damage. Chuchu's being one of the only players to play Cassiopeia in last split of the OPL, and is going to be picking that one up again now with the cleanse as well. So he's going to be able to at least get away from that Glacial Prison coming out of Sybil if he is going to be ganked after that level 6 point is reached by the jungler of the Direwolves. But Legacy, I mean, not going to be too bad in the later stages of the game as well, as the Explosive Cask, of course, the Onslaught of Shadows really going to break away the clumped up team fight that the Direwolves are going to bring to the table. Yeah, they've got a lot of scaling themselves. They've got the Tristana, who scales so well into the late game, and knowing Tally, he'll split push until he's level 17 and starts to become relevant with his 4-item spike. And opposing that is the Jinx, of course, who scales just as well into the late game. Got the team comp to completely babysit this Jinx. The Kassadin, who's doesn't need babysitting as a Kassadin, will dash in and out as he pleases and find resets on that Athenes in the late game to consistently have the mana to do so. They've got a very well-rounded comp here on Direwolves. Lots of tanks, lots of damage, a mix between magic and physical, and all in all, it is a great team comp to be up against. But Legacy's team comp has so much damage. They've got the pressure from the Gragas, a lot of early pressure that wasn't actually there. The Hecarim, the damage scales well into the late game. Every single member of the Legacy lineup is going to be a threat into the late game stages, whereas you look at the side of Direwolves, as we're seeing now, there's only really the two big threats in the late game besides the ultimate combo that they can put through. Yeah, and I mean, I guess Sybil is going to be doing sort of a lot of damage there on the Sejuani in the late game. So one thing that you sort of overlook is the fact that Sejuani with the Northern Winds, especially at the moment on the 5.9 patch, I believe, that 5.10 hasn't come through with the Northern Winds nerfs just yet. So, of course, still doing massive consistent damage in the later stages with the Cinder Hulk as well, especially if you've picked up a Gromp buff there with the Smite at the same time. But you have to get there. And the thing is, the mid-game power of this Legacy lineup is quite frightening. I mean, you may not necessarily talk about a Hecarim as being a mid-game champion, but when you get that ultimate, you can really tear apart these team fights. And if that's off the back of a Petrifying Gaze, things could go horribly wrong for the Direwolves early on. Yeah, definitely. And the cool thing to note is that they've got a lot of displacement spells here on the side of Legacy as well, which is very good at disrupting what is usually the ideal tanky wombo combo that we're seeing from the Direwolves. So They've got the ideal team fight here on Direwolves, but it can go wrong if things don't start perfectly for them. They need the Sejuani ult or the Gnar ultimate to enable the rest of it perfectly. If one goes off and the Explosive Cask comes out, it could completely disrupt this. You might get a cleanse from the Cassiopeia as well, which I believe she has, to just turn it all around with the Petrifying Gaze. Both team comps extremely strong, but it's going to come down to execution. Yeah, well, it's true, and we'll see who can execute. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from you. We want to hear who you think is going to be able to take this one. Use that hashtag LGCwin or the hashtag DWwin, and let us know who you think is going to take this one. We've gone over exactly what we think. We have no idea who's going to win this game, and it's going to come down to what we think is basically just going to be execution. Who can manage to get the right fights at the right times? Yeah, it's going to come down to item timing as well. I believe it'd be a big factor into when they fight, and knowing that the mid-game strength of the Legacy comp seems to be a bit more evident unless the team fight is perfect for the Direwolves. They may look to spike early. They may look to get the armor first, the Frozen Heart even, from the Hecarim so that he has more relevance and can just jump onto the Jinx, a no mobility champion unless it gets excited. And then they've got the Bard who can use the Tempered Fate, completely stop the Jinx in her tracks, and might even set up the rest of the team. And I'm just really excited to see Bard. Yeah, well, I mean, the Tempered Fate as well is going to allow Chuchus to lay down the miasma. Yeah. It's going to get into a huge pool of poison underneath the enemy team. And look, if they decide, nah, we don't really want this team fight, Explosive Cask, easily placed exactly where they want it. A horse can just clippity-clop right into the middle of the team, and say, oh, I'm just going to ult on the spot. I'm just going to sit here rampaging until you do something to me. I'm going to knock out your AD carry with my devastating charge. Anything can happen here, and we'll see whether Flying Dew can make it work. Because, of course, we've only very, very recently seen a totally successful Bard, and that was tonight in the LCK.
Yeah, we have not seen a Bard win, I don't think, up until that period.
Oh, no,
so
no. LPL, POL did manage to, win a legitimate game as Bard. Of course, things in the LPL tend to happen relatively crazily, but POL, in a very serious match, did manage to take a victory on that Bard and landed some fantastic ults. So we'll see whether Flying Dew can really fit into that mold and utilize the potential that Bard has moving into this game.
Well, what interests me the most about this Bard pick is how he's going to use the magical journey and how he's going to rotate around the map and leave the Tristana be. We've seen Tallywacker loves to split push, so they might want to do the lane swap so the Bard can freely roam across the map, as most supports tend to do in that lane swap, and give the free experience to Tallywacker on that Tristana, who will scale so well and might even speed up the mid-game spike of the Trist. Bard will be able to have an impact across the map and will just be journeying everywhere magically as he goes.
Magically journeying across the map, and we'll see whether he can deliver us any stories of his journeys as he heads back into this one, because I'm excited to see a new champion here in the OPL. We haven't necessarily seen it come through, and a lot of what happens here in the OPL at the same time is the fact that people see that this champion worked, it was fantastic, and then we're going to see more of it. Everyone's going to hop on that bandwagon, and of course, a lot of people have been practicing it moving into this.
That is correct. There have been a lot of Bard practice prior to this game even coming in, and before the LCK and the LPL. Everyone knows that Bard's got this potential to be great, but it just feels like it's such a high skill cap or skill ceiling on this champion that we haven't seen it come out just yet and be perfectly effective.
I don't even think it's necessarily a skill ceiling or skill cap. It's the fact that you have to get used to playing with a Bard on your side. It's sort of an entire mindset change for like the whole team. Yeah, a little bit similar, because of course your warding strategies have to change there, but this is almost your whole laning phase decision-making has to change. You've got to give your Bard the ability to roam around, the ability to get his chimes, pick them up, make sure that he's going to be relevant moving forward. And look, we'll see how it works. Of course, Tempered Fate is the main deal. The fact that you can disrupt your own team using that ultimate is really, I think, what people have been allowing to deter them from this one. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting onto the Rift for Legacy versus Direwolves for our second game of the night here in the OPL. Legacy on our blue side, Direwolves on the red, and the defensive fans on both sides. Rusty.
Yeah, quite a standard defensive fan. And while we've been talking all this time about what Bard can offer and a brand new champion, let's look at the exact opposite of that and the most comfortable champion in the world, Perfection on Kassadin.
Yep.
We mentioned he was challenger on NA for his ability to play the Kassadin with 180 ping. I cannot wait to see him bring it out a second time with no ping on the Oceanic server in this tournament.
Yeah, we've already seen him with a victory. It will be 100% over 100% of his games with Kassadin if the Direwolves manage to take a victory here, and that would definitely be exciting. But it's 1 minute and 10 seconds into this game.
Yeah, let's not.
Anything can happen, and Legacy, they've definitely got the team comp for it. It's interesting saying that Legacy don't have necessarily the scaling comp in this matchup, because they've got Hecarim, Cassiopeia, Tristana, and of course a Gragas. Their scaling's fantastic, except Direwolves have just gone all in on the late game scaling, making sure that they've got all of the beefiness, all of the CC, and all of the massive damage from their carries in the late game.
Yeah, so granted they both scale quite well. The difference is that all of the eggs are into the basket of Perfection and King. Yeah. They really want Perfection and King to be the sole damage sources later into the game, and the rest of the team build tank and allow this to happen. You can see the response here from Legacy is that they're going to put all of their players on strong champions late game. And they've called the lane swap, by the way.
Yeah, actually caught them out here as well, as Tallywacker is up towards the top side. King was trying to freeze this one out, but not going to leave the brush.
No, he's going to bide his time. He didn't want to fight at all. He was waiting for Flying Dew to poke his head out or get vision that Flying Dew wasn't going to poke his head out before showing his head and actually hitting Tallywacker. Opting not to, though.
Yeah, you can see Tallywacker already starting to push this way very aggressively. Explosive shot now used in the top side, and now we'll see whether this Tristana is going to work if the lane swap doesn't come through, or whether it comes through, but it gets answered.
A cool fact about the explosive shot is if you use it before last hitting a minion, it does the 4 stacks worth of damage. So it is so good for pushing that people may not even realize that that is a thing. And Direwolves right now, I'm seeing 4 of them right near the top lane.
Yeah, Flying Dew and Tallywacker do need to be careful now, as all the Flame Trompers are going to land. Beautiful dredge line from Chuffer. as Tallywhacker is going to take half of his health and be forced to use that flash. Has kept the heal in his back pocket, but not going to be able to lock down that one, as Sharp did come through for a cheeky little gank. Not going to find anything. Teleport is available, can head towards this bottom side of the map and answer Minky well.
Hitting level 2 could not have been more convenient for the Tristana right there. Managing to jump at least through the chompers and have to use the flash to survive, but the jump wouldn't have been there. So a very smartly timed gank from Sharp. Just very unlucky that it wasn't at the perfect time.
Yeah, not quite able to lock down a kill, but at least getting the flash out of the Tristana is going to be huge here for the potential 2v2 action in the top side of the map, as King sort of known for his aggression. We did see him flashing over some walls. Sort of known as the Super Flash Bros, aren't they, in this top lane? That's the thing?
Yeah, they've been coined, I believe, as the Super Flash Bros, and what a great name for them, given how they showed us in Game 1 that all they want to do is be aggressive, and this will be the perfect example right now. They're the Jinx and the Nautilus just showing this top lane, or the AD carry support combo, who's the boss in this right now, and pushing a Tristana into the turret.
Yeah, Minky Whale actually on a roam here as Sybil. He's going to get ignited by him as well. First blood for the horse. Casual clippity clop up the river.
And he's going to canter away casually back to his lane with double buffs, with Carbon, who also has double buffs, so 4 between them. And Sharp might want to rethink his positioning right now.
That was a very angry boomerang. You saw a lot of emotion in that. Why are you killing my jungler? Stop it, Minky Whale.
A very clever rotation, as Minky is still got Carbon hanging around right now. He wants to at least pressure Sharp into a bad position. Has the double buffs, the blue buff even, to constantly heal a lot. And it's underrated how much a Hecarim actually heals from that.
Yeah, well, exactly. Now with the extra 20% cooldown reduction as well from that blue buff, he's able to just rampage, never lose mana, and also be able to have that Spirit of Dread up more and more often. As Sharp is just really frustrated with the fact that this horse is not going to leave. Does have the level advantage as well. And what an advantage for Legacy here in the early stages, because, I mean, that is a lane that was going to be difficult for a Hecarim.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier for the Hecarim to get through that laning phase. Sharp's going to be putting down a lot of hurt onto the face of Minky Whale, the Hecarim being melee ranged, of course. And speaking of hurt coming down, Choo-Choo's is trying his best attempt at doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, Perfection hasn't actually been back to base yet. 33 to 25 CS in a melee versus range matchup. It's what we expect. I mean, this guy very, very good at Kassadin. And Sybil might be in trouble now as Carbon, again, putting some pressure on the Piggy.
Brutish scuba diver just going straight into the jungle of Sybil. We saw it last time, and they're going to butt heads again in the jungle, no doubt. They've got vision of where each other are. And Nautilus, in fact, rotating, so Carbon smartly going to get out of there.
Yeah, Carbon, of course, doing his best Nautilus impression. Scuba Gragas. Pink Ward, ooh, actually not going to get seen by Carbon there as he poked his head in just a little bit. Perfection is going to head back to base. Choo-Choo's probably going to be able to shove this one into the turret, but Sybil going to get some much-needed experience trying to get to that level 6 as soon as possible.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get some free farming.
Sharp.
Oh, my.
He doesn't even use the flash and just dies 1v1 in the bottom lane there. Minky Whale, what a beast. Teleport. Did he? No, he didn't. He didn't even teleport. He's got the home guard Ninja Tabis, though.
He must have...
Oh, as King's in a whole lot of trouble here in the top lane, I beg your pardon, as the explosive shot not going to quite be enough as the heal came through. Flying Jew now taking a bit of damage there. Magical journey over the wall. He's going to be safe. King forced to head back, though.
That was a very good gank, and I guess it's weird that it was not spotted earlier by the knowledge that Carbon had been around there. They saw the pink ward put down. They saw vision of him around the jungle area, and still being caught in a very awkward position, a small mistake, and managing to live, though, is going to help quite a bit. The CS is heavily in favor of King, in fact.
Yeah, 60 to 45. 15 CS is the lead here for King. We've praised him for his skills as an AD carry player, but I mean, Tristana at the moment in a current iteration has a fair bit of early game pressure. Just hasn't really been felt by this Jinx.
You'd have to assume that given the flash being down so early, the pressure was definitely in favor of Direwolf.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Sharp with the early gank as well. Might have forced the pot out. I just need to touch back on Minky Whale. We saw him before get a solo kill without even having to use a summoner spell. He's so far ahead right now. He's rushed the home guard Ninja Tabis. He's just disgustingly big.
Yeah, and he's got the highest farm on the map as well as a Hecarim, as Choo-Choo's forced to use the flash. There's a Petrifying Gaze, but Perfection, he's going to flash over as well. There's the slow. Choo-Choo's no mana to speak of. Perfection just pokes him with his sword, and he's going to fall down the Direwolves answer the Legacy hype train that's begun here in the bottom side.
Yeah, managing to pick up that kill onto Choo-Choo's is massive for this lane. Kassadin feeling quite comfortable being able to just sit and farm into 1v1 and Chuffer, doing very big Chuffer things, being super aggressive with his positioning and rotating around the map, leaving the top lane. King was in base, I believe, getting items, so a very smart and well-timed rotation to catch. What he's very easily able to do is a Cassiopeia with no health.
Yeah, well, and also you really want to punish a Cassiopeia who's trying to take control of the lane, because left to her own devices, she's an incredibly powerful laner, but doesn't quite have the mobility to escape a roaming support or a jungler.
Yeah, and going for the 2 Dorans and needing the tier first really leaves Cassiopeia in a vulnerable position, whereas the Kassadin can, at the moment, just gone back and got a blasting wand. So effective combat stats now through the roof, and this 1v1 might even start going in favor of the Kassadin.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, Sybil's actually going to lock down the kill in the mid lane here as well as the Direwolves continue the pressure. That was just the ultimate being used. They knew Choo-Choo's actually switched over to the Ignite in the mid lane as well. No cleanse, so not going to be happening. Carbon, Drunken Rage helping out with some damage, but in the bottom lane, another solo kill for Minky Whale. And our Observer's just not having a good game today, just because these kills are coming out left, right, and center so quickly.
A very, very difficult thing to keep control of and monitor. Solo kills coming across the board. Hecarim again, 3-0-0 against Sharp, and absolutely tearing him apart. But then you look at the mid lane at perfection. 1-0-1, getting support from his support, Chuffer, and from the jungler, managing to pick up 2 kills now onto Choo-Choo's. This Cassiopeia is in a very bad position, 2 levels behind, well 1 now. No health to speak of. The trading capabilities of this Kassadin, the aggression that he can show to do these trades, to force them onto Choo-Choo's, he's in a pretty rough position.
Yeah, and you just get more and more scared. I mean, we're talking about a game that's 3-2, still in favor of Legacy as far as the kills count is concerned, and the gold is like 200. But the fact that Perfection is now 1-0-1 on a Kassadin, and having a fine time in lane, almost 20 CS in the lead, not to mention King CS advantage. These are the players that we thought needed to ramp into the later stages. And they're doing fantastically thus far.
And that is exactly right. The Direwolves comp are able and willing, apparently, to sacrifice Sharp in the bot lane right now in that 1v1 matchup.
Yeah.
It is scary to know that the Hecarim with the Phage and finished Home Guard boots is going to be as big as he is. But the consolation to that is that your side, the 2 carries that you want to scale, are scaling, and it's happening quicker than you would have even anticipated. The Kassadin is massive. The Jinx is getting free farm is going to be huge. You have to get Sharp, I guess, to build tank items straight away, so going for the pickaxe might be a risk, and we can see it now.
Oh, there's a flash body slam, explosive cask, and Sharp is going way too far in the wrong direction. The poor little Gnar just going to get rampaged down. Minky Whale, 4-0-0, 100% of his team's kills, and there's only 2 assists for Legacy.
You have to... We just touched on how great it is that Direwolves have got a lot of gold onto their carries, but we also just touched on how big Minky Whale is. If he manages to get any more kills, it's going to get so much scarier. Jinx, no mobility, could get instantly destroyed by a 4-0 Hecarim.
Yeah.
Especially in the mid-game stages. And the team comp of Legacy will be looking to fight in the mid-game a little bit more than that of Direwolves, especially with a Hecarim this big.
And I actually really like it, because most of the time, I mean a lot of the time I guess, you see the Smite teleport Hecarims being used. Why I love the Ignite teleport Hecarim at this stage means you don't need to build the Skirmisher Saber into that the Cinderhulk enchant before a Trinity Force. You can have that massive damage spike earlier in this game, and that's what Legacy want to capitalize on.
Yeah, that's actually really smart. It may have been an on-the-fly decision to go for it as well, based off the comp of Direwolves. He's gone for the Ignite. He can completely forego the Cinderhulk or any tanky items and accelerate the lead that he now has by rushing that Trinity Force. It is a very good decision of them to do this.
Yeah, of course, now has a level advantage as well. Flying through has to use the flash, but can't get away from the hook. Chuffer decides not to follow him on the magical journey as he went through that wall. Look at it sucking the Cosmos through there. As Choo-Choo's a lot of damage, the Twin Fangs, but only has Doran's rings to speak of at this stage, so Perfection is going to survive it at this point.
Negatron
Cloak.
Yeah,
is of course there. Perfection now wanting to stack up that Rod of Ages as quickly as he can, but he's got it relatively early. Now sitting on a couple of stacks. Minky Whale just getting very angry at Sharp, knocking him back into the wall here. There's the Ignite, going for the tower dive. There's the ultimate. Minky Whale just underneath the turret forever without any fear locks down the solo kill.
Minky Whale is beasting all over Sharp right now.
That was disgusting.
That's one way to describe it. I was going to say filthy, and let's look at it again. The lead that Minky Whale has right now, no regard for turrets. They don't even exist in his books. Casual kill onto Sharp.
Yeah, just helicopters him to death and takes down the outer turret in the bottom lane as well. Legacy now with a global gold advantage of about 1,000.
Yeah, it's going to be entirely onto the back of Minky Whale, though, this lead right now, and especially the mid-game
skirmishes. Yeah, he better have a strong
skirmishes.
saddle. I swear to God. Oh, Tempered Fate onto all three members of the Direwolves. Minky Whale trying to get into the backline. King not going to stand a chance against this massive horse. There's the heal. Minky Whale waiting for the devastating charge, but no issue at all. In the trade in the end is going to be, of course, Choo Choo's falling down there in the mid lane as Perfection has locked himself down another kill. But if that can happen over and over again, it means that Perfection is the only damage left for the Direwolves.
Yeah, it's funny. You'd look at this game right now and you'd say that Hecarim is so far ahead and he scales so well into the late game that you're in a bad position as Direwolves. But then you have a look at the mid lane.
Yeah.
There is about 40-odd CS in favor of the Cassidy, who had a 12-minute Rod of Ages, 2-0-1, and is absurdly big. So it's going to be interesting how the team fight dynamic changes now, given that the gold and the placement of the gold is all onto the Hecarim, and then they've got the big carry of the Cassidy, who they're both going to be diving their opposition team. It might come down to who does this better in the end result.
And it's just so good to see Minky Whale back on one of these carry top laners in the Hecarim that's gone for the Trinity Force first, has got a 14-minute Trinity Force at the same time, as well as Home Guard boots, I might add. This is the most terrifying I've seen any member of the Shadow Isles ever, and they're all pretty frightening, let's be honest. But the last time I saw Minky Whale have one of these performances on the likes of Jax, you know, back in autumn.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago that Minky Whale's been able to do this, just because of how the meta's unfolded.
Yeah, it's funny that it's come back to the tank meta. Is he's just casually killing Sharp again?
Yeah, one more time.
That's, yeah.
Sharp sort of realized that I'm 0-5-0. I'm basically a cannon creep.
Well, at least the cannon creep that we've got on Direwolves can push a little bit faster than your average cannon creep. There is the bonus to it. And he can transform into a mega super minion.
That's true. Super mega minion rocket.
That was horrible.
What that was about. That was absolutely woeful. 2,000 gold now the lead for Legacy. Minky Whale has almost all of it, as the blue buff is going to be stolen away as well. As long as Direwolves can fight when Minky Whale's teleports down, I mean, maybe they can make something happen. And of course, they still do have the massive CS advantage for King here in the top side. They are going to be able to take down this turret very soon, even out this global gold lead. But when you see a 7-0-0 Hecarim, you expect more of a lead than 2,000 gold here at 16 minutes.
Yeah, it's such an interesting game to watch unfold from here on out. It's all of the gold in one person on Legacy, and then all of the gold from Direwolves on multiple people. So
yeah, I'm still not sure like who's going to be taking this one, even when there is a 7-0-0 Hecarim.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2,000 gold lead. I'm still not sure who's actually ahead because all of it is on one person. And he doesn't have teleport, and he's just sitting bot lane destroying the cannon minion Sharp.
3,000 gold ahead! My God.
It's like his whole Trinity Force in items ahead right now.
Ridiculous. As King, he's picked up an Avarice Blade as well, so he's banking just a little bit here. Trying to have that static shiv, but not before the Infinity Edge, which has just come through now. A little bit of extra crit to augment it as well, as Talaweka decided to go for the Berserker's Greaves. Of course, a fantastic item on Tristana. So incredibly efficient, and you want to be pushing down the turrets as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and we've also need to note here that they've got the first dragon on the side of Legacy. The second one is up in 20 seconds, and they've got control of the bottom half of the map. But as I say that, we do have a 7-0 Hecarim prancing around the top lane, probably going to take that turret if they look to contest the dragon. If they don't look to contest the dragon, they go for Hecarim. I'm just calling that he'll probably make a 2-for-1 trade somehow.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that is a possibility here, as a nice little Force Pulse going to come out there from Perfection. But they've noted the fact that Minky Whale's teleport is on cooldown. That is all of the gold for Legacy. Yeah, it's more than the gold lead as far as his advantage in his lane is concerned. And the Direwolves, there is vision available, but Minkwell not going to be able to get in here. Oh my goodness, Carbon body slams in, steals it, and flashes away. Beautiful work. 2-0 now in the turrets, and Legacy not going to get that one stolen away.
Finding themselves with some serious win conditions here on the side of Legacy now. They've got the Dragon, they've got the turret advantage. The only real thing keeping Direwolves in this at the moment is the fact that they are winning every lane except for the one that the Hecarim is in at any time.
Yeah, so as long as they avoid the horse, just avoid the horse. That's all they have to do.
But then the logical decision from Legacy is Carbon.
Yeah, trying to 1v1 King here as well, who's trying to turn it around. The Flame Chomp is doing a decent job. Their Super Mega Death Rocket finishes it off. King locks down the solo on the Gragas as Minkwell looking for Sybil, but he's pretty tanky at this stage. Tempered Fate onto Sharp, but he's just going to bounce away. Legacy trying to fight. They're fighting around the horse, so that is definitely good news.
Yeah, the smart rotation, of course, is to go where the horse is if Direwolves don't want to fight the horse.
Oh, Choo-Choo's trying to take the magical journey. Does get in there. There it is. Oh, Chuff's going to follow him, though. Gets stunned up against the wall, and that's the beautiful combo there of Bud.
Chuffer just wanting to go on a magical journey.
Oh, Minkwell might get soloed out by King as well, who was trying to sort something. I don't know how Minkwell got so low. Did he teleport in to try and kill him?
Not entirely sure. There is no teleport available, and I was
still out healed. Flying Jew now just getting exploded here in the mid lane. Sybil throws out the ult casually as he is going to flash forward. Nice petrifying gaze, going to catch Sybil out underneath the turret as Tallywack is trying to get the autos. There's the man mode rocket jump as he buster shots perfection away.
Oh no!
Flash into the auto attack and then gives up. There it is. Choo-Choo's with the last tick of poison. The teleport to come down from Sharp, but he's not the scariest in the book as Chuffer finds himself in an uncomfortable position. King going to try and get some auto attacks down, just trying to peel for himself with the Flame Chompers, and having a Sharp there as well is going to help him out. But a massive amount of action. I'm not even entirely sure now who came out ahead. I mean, I guess the gold's telling us it's still about the same.
Yeah, the gold is telling us it's about the same, and that's because it pretty much is. Oh,
Super Mega Death Rocket's available.
Is it?
He's looking for something. Oh, there it is.
It chomped its way through the base, but didn't actually connect with a champion to get him a kill. It was an adventurous decision of where he threw it, to say the least. Looking for Carbon, thinking he was going to be juking where it could go.
They're jealous of Bard. They wanted to send the rocket on a magical journey.
Well, they could just follow through the magical journey next time instead.
Yeah, shoot a rocket through the magical journey.
That'd look pretty cool.
Yeah, it would. Probably would be cooler than that particular rocket, which I have no idea where it was in fact going, as Sharp is going to be able to clear out this wave in the top lane.
He does have a full item now. He does have the Frozen Mallet available.
Yep.
And that's good because what Sharp was doing, particularly even in that last fight, he teleported in and then he pretty much just peeled. And that's what Sharp is going to have to do from here on out if he wants his team to come out ahead in fights, is get the Hecarim off all of the people doing damage. And you have to give a lot of credit to King right now, managing to 1v1 the Gragas and push the Hecarim away in a 1v1.
Yeah.
I've seen so many crits come out of that guy's auto attacks, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really, really frightening. And 2-item spike now hit for King. You're exactly right. Able to really assert some dominance on this map.
That pink ward has been there for such a long time. I think it was 4 minutes roughly.
Yeah.
Was when that was there. So finally getting rid of it.
17-minute pink ward value. Not bad. Frozen Mallet doing some work now for Sharp. As King is going to try and clear out some vision, but not going to get there. Of course, his sweeper doesn't exist. Legacy going to clear some vision.
Both sides scale really well, but it's so... I still think it's really interesting to talk about the dynamic of how the side of Legacy, who scale quite well, now have all of their gold on one person. So the two people who were going to be scaling really well with the Hecarim are going to be a lot slower in doing so. Direwolves are going to hit this 5v5 power spike before the side of Legacy, even though the gold lead is in favor of Legacy.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the jungle. Sybil's actually ahead by 100 gold, which is utterly amazing. Managed to pick up a couple of kills there, but was getting sort of the game dictated to him in the earlier stages of it. Of course, is something that is going to happen when you are Sejuani, but turned it around quite nicely. And Direwolves, now that they're grouped up as a team, they've spread out the gold so much more. In these 5v5 team fights, they may actually be able to come out ahead relatively consistently.
If it all goes to plan from Direwolves, that will 100% happen. Solely because The team fight that will most likely break out, you'll see Minky Whale ult. He'll use that Unstoppable Onslaught, and whoever he hits, it will dictate how the fight goes, essentially.
Well, he'd use Unstoppable Onslaught if it was silent.
Well, I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
Yeah, no, but he'd have the Shadows Onslaught
Yeah,
version.
that's the one.
Yeah, not bad. No, but they've all got very similar names. You've got
sounded
Unstoppable
impactful.
Force, you've got Unstoppable Force, Unstoppable Onslaught, and Onslaught of Shadows.
Yeah.
I mean, what's a man to do? Rusty, you're absolutely fine. Back to your point, though. I apologize.
Well, I feel like the problem here, what a man should do, is not bring up when it's a mistake, and let's go with it, roll with it, because it was kind of sounding right.
It's got some vision being cleared out. You got plenty of time.
Yeah. No, we'll get there.
Sharpie's going to continue being annoying, though, here in the jungle. But, of course, if Direwolves do manage to get the ideal team fight, things might work. But otherwise, if Legacy manage to get the full potential of Minky Whale's damage out, are you saying that that's going to be an option for Legacy to take this game?
Yeah, if the pony can hit his ultimate, his R key, on
press your R button on enemy team plus Minky Whale.
If it hits the ideal carries from the side of Direwolves as the Dragon is being started, then you'll see a fight go quite heavily in favor of Legacy, in fact, depending on how it goes.
Oh, flying through, almost managing to land that one. There's the ult into the backline, though. King taking a whole lot of damage, but they're peeling so well. Tempered Fate not going to save his life there as Legacy. They're in a whole lot of trouble now. Nice Petrifying Gaze onto a couple of members as Perfection takes the magical journey after them. Nice Barrel going to slow down his approach, but Cassidy not really wanting for much mobility. He's absolutely fine in that department, but Legacy, they did lock down the Dragon, and they only lost the horse.
Worked out okay in the end, and I was questioning what Minky was trying to do there on the Hecarim, and went straight into the face of King. He might want to rethink his team fighting strategy. He can't do that unless the rest of his side are actually looking to fight. So I guess sacrificing himself, but also giving over a 7-kill gold bonus to the person who got the kill.
Yeah, that is frightening stuff. Nice zap there, as King's actually going to get stunned up there by the Cosmic Spike. Sybil looking for the Arctic Assault as Carbon trying to do his best to tank this one out. Look at how incredibly low King is there on the backside of the map as Carbon locks it down with a barrel. Now Minky Whale finds his way in the fight. Sharp still not exactly the strongest Gnar in the world. Minky Whale rampaging around this one, and Minky Whale finding perfection now as well. Carbon trying to body slam his way around, but a double kill for the horse. 9-1-0, I believe, as we bring this one back up. And Legacy, they may just go for a Baron. Choo-Choo's is still Cassiopeia, able to get a whole lot of Baron damage down.
And that fight was starting off quite well on the side of Direwolves, you would have thought. They had the Gnar teleport in the right position, but Gnar 050, I believe he was, before that fight even broke out. Not exactly the biggest force to behold, and Tallywhack is starting to scale up himself. He is the Tristana, has the levels and the items.
Yeah.
They do pick up the Baron uncontested. We're going to have a look at this fight again. You can see the amount of damage that actually goes onto Sharp at the same time as Minky Whale dealing damage is just phenomenal. You can see the relevance of how big the Hecarim is compared to how big the Gnar is, starting to impact these fights. And Tallywhacker, scaling about the same strength as King, is going to start to have a lot more impact on these future fights. As Red Buff trolling a little bit there.
Yeah, King having that one run away, but Brambleback is going to get secured. King locks that one down. Krug's going to fall as well. So just making sure that he can pick up as much farm around this map as he can. Sharp, oh my goodness. Devastating charge. Does a lot of damage. Minky Whale almost has, I believe, the Randuin's Omen is what he's going for now, is that Ruby Crystal probably going to be turned into a giant spell. And the horse is then going to have a whole lot of extra health and armor, and is going to be very difficult to take down. 9-1-1 is an apt score at the moment for this pony. Sybil waiting on the bottom side. Tallywhacker, of course, with the Baron now. Might be in trouble, but the rest of Legacy are coming around here as well. Chuffer looking for something. Oh my goodness, that dredge line was so close, but Sybil, Arctic Assault, not going to find Carbon, and Legacy is going to be A-okay.
At first, I thought Tally was dancing with death, and then I rethought my strategy and realized it was Sybil, and then it was all of them. And
everyone's just dancing
really,
with a whole lot of everything.
they're all just dancing with their potential death, as Flying Dew's going to take a magical journey.
Yep, most certainly is flying around this map at the moment. It's Chuffer. Did land a dredge line, but that was just a wall. He's not going to be able to kill that one. And split push continues on the top side. Minky Whale not needing to be with his team just yet. Of course, half the cooldown of that teleport is down for both of our top laners.
Going.
Oh my goodness, another attempted solo kill. The Ignite is down. But Sharp is just going to head back to the fountain now, but Legacy now with the pushing power of the Baron. Minky very, very low. Perfection going to lock down that kill. Turret going to fall in the mid lane though. Inhibitor turret, more importantly. The base now broken by the Direwolves, and they've only taken 2 turrets to the 6 that Legacy has responded with.
Yeah, that's it, and it does all boil down to the Minky Whale show. Now, he's dying a lot, but it's sacrificing himself for the greater good of objectives, which gets the rest of his team gold.
Yeah.
It's a very selfless and smart strategy that they're enacting right now. They do get the mid turret, and they have got 6 turrets total compared to 2 because they have to send multiple members elsewhere where the pony is rampaging.
Yeah, well, look, Minky Whale has been known to make aggressive, overly aggressive plays at times, but also been known to do very interesting things around the map. So I don't ever presume to predict what Minky Whale is going to do, ever. That's just how I look at him as a player. And so far this game, I wasn't expecting him to hard carry by going 7-0-0 at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's not something you often expect regardless, I wouldn't say.
No, it doesn't matter which top lane you're talking about.
The fact that the Hecarim manages to be 7-0-0 is scarier than any other top laner I think I could have imagined. The Gnar, who would have been big, still has the weakness of the mini Gnar point, or the volatility of the Mega Gnar is still there, but there's the potential to outplay it. The Hecarim, who's big though, scales just infinitely better than most of the other top laners that you'll see, is quite a scary champion to actually be 7-0-0 on.
Yeah, and as you build up these resistances, the more you get back from that Spirit of Dread when you're in the middle of a team fight means that, yeah, you're doing a heck of a lot of damage with your Trinity Force, but you're also unable to be killed, which is quite frustrating. Order's going to head over there as Sybil looking to start something up. Carbon takes about half of his health. Tempered Fate going to whiff completely, though, as Minky Whale lands the ultimate quite nicely onto Sybil, gets the solo ultimate, but Minky Whale not even going to die yet. Beautiful exhaust onto King to prevent the extra damages. Gnar into Tallywhacker into the wall, uses the QSS as Sharp has locked him down. Nice buster shot though, and Choo Choo's locks down Perfection. King going to die as well. So much consistent damage out of this Snake Lady, and able to twin bite her way to victory. The inhibitor now going to follow.
And that's just the best part of what Legacy have to offer right now. The rest of their team is Minky Whales. That's a fast pony.
Oh,
they get the
inhibitor for the
They
kill.
may even be able to push this to the end. 4 members down, 6 seconds on Sybil, and only the Nautilus to defend this. It's going to be a very dangerous position. On the back of this Minky Whale right now. This saddle holds 4 people, apparently.
It most certainly does. Sybil is alive, but look at this Nexus getting destroyed. 17-7 Legacy take down the Direwolves and get their revenge from the semis.
Now, that's such an interesting game to even watch
or
talk about.
Game.
You're not often predicting the Hecarim to be 7-0 come through and carry, especially when the rest of your team was struggling a bit in the early game. The Cassiopeia didn't do much until that last team fight. Came through so strong and solidly by the end of the game and helped to carry the team. Minky just enabled them to get there.